Greetings, I go by the name James, and I work as a professional yoga instructor and physiotherapist. Following the failure of my marriage due to infidelity on my ex-wife's part, I moved back to Georgia to live with my parents. I was born and raised in Georgia, and my parents, both doctors, were already wealthy and lived comfortably. Despite their success, they were not the best parents and struggled to provide the care and attention that every child deserves. Nonetheless, my sister and I were able to live a comfortable life thanks to their financial stability. We attended one of the top schools in the town, and later I discovered my hidden talents in high school. Although I wasn't initially a bright student and struggled to achieve good grades, my sister always excelled in academics and was the favorite child. Despite my efforts, I couldn't meet my parents' expectations of perfection and high success for their children. However, I failed to meet my parents' expectations for me. Throughout my school life, I had a keen interest in sports and extracurricular activities, but my parents never encouraged me to pursue my passions. Consequently, I was left to my own devices, constantly seeking ways to fulfill my desires. One particular memory that stands out is the sports day at my school. During my sports ceremony, I achieved first place throughout the entire school, but my parents were not present to witness my success. As I transitioned into high school, I discovered a new environment that was vastly different from my previous experiences. I was presented with numerous opportunities in sports, and consequently, I excelled. Eventually, I was selected for a scholarship program that allowed me to enter medical school. I signed up for a physical therapy training program that suited my interests, and worked hard to maintain good grades. Despite not being the brightest student in school, my passion, determination, and hard work paid off, and I became the top-performing student in my class. My goal was to graduate with flying colors and continue my education to specialize in my field. Choosing my field of study for my master's degree was an easy decision for me, as my passion for sports led me to specialize in sports physiotherapy. After obtaining my degree, I was able to establish my own clinic. A year later, I decided to expand my services by becoming a fitness instructor. I joined a gym and yoga center and hired other fitness trainers to work with me. In addition to teaching fitness classes, I have also given yoga classes throughout my life. I never believed in love at first sight until a beautiful woman walked into my yoga class one day. She had signed up for a 6-month yoga plan, and I was supposed to be her instructor. As the days passed, my feelings for her grew stronger and stronger. She came to class every morning. While she was shy, her poise and grace captivated me. Her smile could light up a room, and her spirit was contagious. Despite the fact that I was attracted to her, I struggled to find the courage to confess my love and desire to marry her. As the last week of her membership at my gym approached, I couldn't bear the thought of letting her go. It was difficult for me to approach her and tell her about my feelings. Each time I thought of speaking to her, I became nervous and stopped myself. The pain of letting her go was even more challenging than the prospect of confessing my love. In the end, I decided to do it, plucked up the courage, and approached her. After one of our yoga classes, I asked her out for coffee, and to my delight, she accepted. Our meeting was a success, and we quickly became good friends. We shared details about ourselves, talked about our interests, likes, and dislikes. We spent the entire day together discussing our thoughts on life and our future plans. We inquired about each other's hobbies and passions and learned a lot about one another. Our conversations made me feel like we were meant to be together. After a few months of dating, we grew closer and connected on a deeper level. It was a beautiful feeling, and I was grateful for her every day. Eventually, we got married, and it felt like a dream come true. We were both very happy and living a perfectly content life as a couple. We worked during the day and spent our evenings together. We enjoyed going out for dinner dates and attending parties. As a couple, we lived a fulfilling life, cherishing every moment. We were far from dull and always found ways to enjoy ourselves. I wanted to celebrate every second of my life with her, and being with her made me feel grateful beyond words. Time passed, and we created a happy little family. We lived in a cozy home that my wife Sarah had beautifully decorated, along with our adorable daughter, Emma. I felt like the happiest person on earth, having earned everything that any person on the planet can only dream of. A sweet daughter, a loving, beautiful wife is every man's dream, a great home. Everything seemed to be going smoothly until I noticed a shift in Sarah's behavior. She seemed distant, quiet, and almost resigned. Spending time with us was no longer enjoyable for her, and she often went out of her way to avoid me and Emma. This was all very perplexing to me. Despite Sarah's distant behavior, I believed that this was just another stage in her life, and she was just tired. And I assumed that if I gave her some freedom, it would help. However, I was unaware that a nightmare was looming in the background. Soon my belief that our love was unbreakable would be shattered. Sarah's behavior became increasingly cold and detached from the family. She spent most of her time away from home and returned late. Her focus on our daughter and the upkeep of our home dwindled, and her attention towards me was almost non-existent. There were moments when it seemed as though Sarah didn't even acknowledge my presence. Her focus was solely on herself, her appearance, makeup, and social outings. She would leave the house regularly in the evenings for parties and dinners, and on the rare occasions when she was home, she would either be engrossed in her phone or sleeping. She had seemingly forgotten her roles as a wife and mother, neglecting her responsibilities to our family and home. Our daughter's health deteriorated due to her mother's neglect, prompting me to ask Sarah to prioritize Emma's care over her social life. She refused and suggested hiring a caretaker instead. Sarah showed no concern for our daughter's well-being or my own struggles, forcing me to take time off work, as I couldn't entrust a stranger with Emma's care. As Sarah's neglect of our daughter continued, my job began to suffer as well. Yet she remained indifferent. Her behavior grew increasingly distant, spending minimal time at home and constantly absorbed in her phone. And I became suspicious of her disgusting behavior, and in the end decided to arrange for her surveillance. After dropping Emma off at school, I noticed Sarah leaving for her supposed girls' day out. I caught up with her unnoticed at the nearest intersection and secretly followed her. My heart raced as she parked in front of my best friend's home and disappeared inside. Though I tried not to consider the worst, my mind couldn't help but wonder. I took a deep breath and cautiously followed her inside. Dismissing the notion that my wife and friend were deceiving me, I attempted to suppress my doubts. But my worst fears were confirmed within moments. Concealed by a window in his lounge, I witnessed the unthinkable. My wife and friend were entwined in an intimate embrace. My world crumbled around me. I was consumed with rage and pain, yet I remained silent, determined not to reveal my presence. Initially, I was at a loss for what to do, but then a feeling of fury began to bubble inside me. I couldn't simply walk away. I craved revenge. They needed to suffer for their actions. I was devastated. How could my wife and friend betray me? They had been the two people I trusted the most, and they shattered that trust. I returned home with a plan forming in my mind. I have devised a scheme to ensure that they will regret the day they betrayed me. It was supposed to be something that would cause great pain to both of them, but my true revenge is for Sarah, whom I loved and trusted with all my heart. Though I knew it would be an arduous and lengthy endeavor, I was resolute in my mission. For months, I tirelessly strategized and crafted the ideal plan to avenge their betrayal until finally I had the perfect solution. My daily routine consisted of spying on and tailing Sarah. I captured numerous images of her with my former friend Sam. Every opportunity I had, I gathered photographs and videos of them together. Additionally, I obtained their call logs and messages, which were unpleasant enough, but I saved them for future use. The day for my plan's execution was drawing near. I had scheduled my revenge for Sarah's birthday, determined to make it her most unforgettable celebration. I meticulously arranged a grand celebration for the special day, complete with a spectacular event. Sarah was completely oblivious to what awaited her. I expertly maintained the facade of being the most loving and devoted husband. I informed her of the lavish party I had planned, and she was ecstatic. For the first time in a while, I saw her genuinely content at home and pleased with something involving me. My focus was elsewhere. I had other plans in motion. Finally, the day arrived. Sarah donned a breathtaking black shimmer gown, embellished with white pearls, and her hair cascaded down her back. She wore long silver heels, and her stunning appearance captivated me momentarily. But the memory of her betrayal and shattered faith soon resurfaced, and I refocused on my mission for revenge. The guests began to arrive, and it was time to set my plan in motion. My guest list was extensive, including Sarah's family, friends, and colleagues, our mutual acquaintances, neighbors, my co-workers, and, of course, Sam, my former best friend and Sarah's current lover. Once all the guests had arrived, it was time to initiate my plan. I had arranged goodie bags for everyone to be distributed after the cake-cutting ceremony. The cake was a delectable chocolate fudge, Sarah's favorite, and I wanted her to savor her last enjoyable meal in this place. I invited Sarah on stage to cut the cake. As the birthday note played in the background, she cut the cake while receiving wishes and applause. After serving the cake, everyone enjoyed it. I then took the opportunity to entertain by playing a birthday note for her, and announced that the long-awaited envelopes were finally being distributed to the guests. As everyone received their envelopes, I counted down from 3 before they opened them. The wait was over, and the surprise was revealed, leaving everyone with stunned expressions. Sarah and Sam appeared to be the most taken aback by the contents of the envelope. They never could have anticipated being caught and publicly shamed in such a manner. Inside the envelope were their intimate photos when they were together and printouts of their intimate conversations. As a projector and screen were set up in the hall, I played their incriminating video for all to see. This revelation threw everyone into confusion, and Sarah seemed to be in shock. Sam's gaze remained fixed on the ground, unable to face the situation at hand. The worst was yet to come. Buried beneath the documents was a set of divorce papers that I had prepared. It was my intention to sever all ties with Sarah. Additionally, there was a paper indicating that I had taken full custody of our daughter and reclaimed all the wealth and property that I had previously given to Sarah. At this point, Sarah's world crumbled before her eyes, and tears streamed down her face. She looked to Sam for support, but he was nowhere to be found. Sam had slipped away, leaving Sarah alone to face the humiliation. Although I wanted to pursue Sam, my priority was to exact revenge on my wife. Sarah approached me, sobbing and begging for forgiveness, but I remained steadfast in my decision. I bid her farewell and directed her to leave my home. A fiery determination had taken hold of me, and I was unstoppable. Some time has passed since that event, and I was overcome by a feeling of emptiness. I no longer recognized myself, and my thirst for revenge had left me unfulfilled. Although I managed to repay Cereza for her betrayal, my heart remained heavy. The loss of my love, the most valuable thing to me, left a wound that no amount of retaliation could heal. Nothing could ease the pain or bring me solace. Despite feeling doomed and disturbed, I knew I had to pull myself together and carry on with life. After all, I had a daughter to care for and provide a stable life. That's how I came to understand that revenge does not bring peace, happiness, and joy to my life. And the feeling that arose after my act of revenge quickly passed, leaving behind bitterness and disappointment. It is like alcohol, which at first brings some joy but then comes a hangover. All I can say is that I still have a long way to go to heal.